And for our next story, we head to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where fighting is intensifying, throwing a fresh US ceasefire into doubt. Gunfire has been heard as Rwandan-backed M23 rebels pushed into the outskirts of the strategic city of Uvira. The United Nations says this new offensive has already killed 74 people, with dozens more wounded. The UN also revealed that around 200,000 people from the city have fled in recent days. Uvira is a lakeside town near the border with Burundi, a key trade and economic hub in eastern DRC. It sits in the east of Democratic Republic of Congo, which is home to substantial reserves of mineral resources. And control over this mineral-rich land has been one source of a conflict in eastern DRC for years. Fighting intensified once again at the start of this year, when the Rwandan-backed rebels seized the eastern city of Goma in January, and then Bukavu, capital of South Kivu province. But after several diplomatic meetings on the conflict between the DRC, Rwanda and the M23 rebels, a peace deal was signed only last week, with Donald Trump present along with both leaders of Rwanda and DR Congo. The US president hailed it as a miracle.
I think you're going to see very quickly, I think you're going to see things happen. This is something that was not doable, according to a lot of people, and not only is it doable, I think it's going to be a great miracle. These two gentlemen are leaders, they're great leaders, and they're going to prove that in the coming months and years, and I think you're going to see very immediate results. I have confidence that that's what's going to happen. Thank you very much, everybody.
However, after days of fighting that has reportedly also led to the death of Burundi soldiers in DRC, the ceasefire is hanging by a thread. And amid the continued offensive from the M23 rebels, Rwanda has now hit out at DRC and Burundi for so-called violations of the agreements.
These deliberate violations of recently negotiated agreements constitute serious obstacles to peace. Violations cannot be placed on Rwanda.
As violence continues in the region, the United States and European powers have urged the M23 to immediately halt its offensive, while also urging Rwanda to remove its troops from eastern DRC. And in Washington, the US and 9 members of the International Contact Group for the Great Lakes called the renewed violence a profound concern. For now, uncertainty remains for hundreds of thousands of people who remain in Uvira. M23 rebels have urged citizens to remain in the city. And what of the peace deal, signed less than a week ago? Optimism over an end to 3 decades of war is once again dissipating. We'll bring back in Meki El-Maghrabi, an international affairs expert, joining us live once again, of course, from Cairo, Egypt. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you again, Joshua.
I want to look more broadly at this conflict. Of course, just days ago, it looked closer to ending than it has in recent months. What comes next for both sides?
First of all, I think it's okay to have USA with its global weight and heavyweight, and having Qatar mediating between the Congo and Rwanda, M23, the Kivu region. That is good, but we shall not simplify the solution and think a miracle can happen in one day, just like Trump said. It is not a miracle, but could open a way to have a miracle, because the DRC war once called the global or the world African war, because it is a non-stop war and it's multi-party war. So having the United States pushing for the peace is not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. And by the way, in 2018, United States, and at that time, Tibur Nagy was the Assistant Secretary of the Department of State for Africa, and he pushed for the election in the Congo, and that brought the peace. from 2018 up to 2023, something like that. So United States has good experience in pushing the peace in the Congo during the first administration of Trump, or the first term of Trump, and now he started to do things. But it couldn't be one-step process. We need more involvement from United States and Qatar.
Yes, and Meki, do you think that the M23 rebels will heed the warnings that have come from international players, and do you think they will stop their offensive?
We need a role for the African Union. International players, United States, Qatar, is not enough. So there is a missing role for the African Union, and the African Union has been weakened during Moussa Faki time, but now it's better in Ali Mahmoud as the chief of the commission. But still, Rwanda once was leader or the champion of African solution for African problems, and now Rwanda is a part in a problem. So we need more involvement for the African Union. African Union has been weakened and manipulated by Western powers for some time, and that clearly seen in dealing with the issue of Sudan, Niger, Burkina Faso, and other the suspended African nations according to intervention that coming outside from African Union. So African Union need to fix its situation and join the peace efforts, and that could be the better solution to push the peace process in the Congo.
Meki El Maghrabi, thank you ever so much for joining us and providing insights.
You're welcome.
I was born into revolution. I inherited power like a crown. What I delivered was isolation. I built a personality cult that touched every home. Millions suffered hunger under my rule, but no one dared to speak. I ruled from palaces. My people queued for rice. I called myself the dear leader. History calls me something else, the dictator. Who am I?